This presentation is a draft of the State Consolidated Plan for federal funds under the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA. Stakeholders may comment from now until May 18th on how federal resources will be used to achieve Hawaii's educational goals and how federal mandates will be addressed to benefit our students. In 2015, former President Obama signed ESSA into law. ESSA reauthorizes the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, replacing No Child Left Behind as the primary federal law for K-12 education. ESSA strives to promote equity for all students and provides federal assistance to states and school districts to help schools serve educationally disadvantaged students. To receive funds, states must submit plans on how they will meet the requirements of the law and apply ESSA requirements to all schools. There are also requirements to serve students in private schools on a limited basis. Formula funds are given to states based on population and the percentage of poverty of children in the state. Funds for other programs are competitive. The U.S. Department of Education will issue a request for proposals and eligible entities can apply. Titles marked with an asterisk contain programs which are included in the Consolidated State Plan for ESSA. The draft contains Hawaii's response to the federal requirements for these programs. Since ESSA became law, there have been a number of developments, especially with the change in presidential administrations. Nonetheless, the ESSA law stands, and the law requires full implementation of ESSA for the 2017-18 school year. Hawaii's priority is to make sure that our approach to ESSA makes sense to our schools and advances student success while still securing federal resources. We will submit the ESSA plan to the U.S. Department of Education by September 18th. However, we are mindful that our school year begins ahead of the federal deadline, July 14th, for our multi-track schools, and for most schools, August 1st. The new ESSA law provides more flexibility to states than No Child Left Behind. In 2016, there has been unprecedented community discussions about Hawaii's vision for public education. Through the governor's ESSA team efforts, the review and extension of the state strategic plan, and the development of our ESSA plan, we took a fresh look at our approaches to advancing student success, maximizing opportunities to improve schools and student learning, and minimizing actions for compliance sake. Our education stakeholders have participated in learning about and sharing their hopes, ideas, and expertise for the various plans over the last 13 months. Governor Ige appointed an ESSA team which developed his blueprint for public education, an aspirational and visionary plan. The DOE worked with community partners and the board to organize extensive outreach and feedback for its strategic plan, which serves as the action plan for 2017 through 2020. There have also been more than 150 other documented meetings regarding our plans for ESSA that have influenced the preparation of the draft. As much as possible, our ESSA draft takes advantage of new flexibilities in the law. The governor's vision provides the basis for the goals in the ESSA draft. The updated strategic plan provides interim measures of progress, and plans are designed to support implementation of strategic plan objectives. The draft applies ESSA resources and requirements to achieving our strategic plan objectives. ESSA provides resources and also federal requirements to promote equity and excellence for our schools and students. The public now has an opportunity to review the draft and provide feedback until May 18th. The department plans to present a summary of the public comments at the board's June 6 meeting and a revised plan for the board to consider authorizing submission of the plan on June 20th. Once the board authorizes the plan, the governor will have a 30-day opportunity to review and approve the state plan. The goal is to have a completed plan before the next school year. The draft ESSA plan is organized by the federal template for state plans, which addresses components of certain programs in the ESSA law. It's not written as a comprehensive education plan, but represents how Hawaii will address requirements of the federal law so that we can secure federal funds to support equity and excellence for our schools and students. The draft ESSA plan and an executive summary are posted to the department's website. We have excellence when students statewide are achieving at high levels, and we have equity when students of different characteristics also achieve at those same high levels. ESSA requires that states set long-term and short-term goals for both excellence and equity. We must set goals for academic achievement as measured by the federally required annual state assessments in reading language arts and mathematics, graduation rates, and English language proficiency for our English learners. Hawaii's long-term goals are based on Governor Ige's blueprint. Our achievement levels and graduation rates will increase to the current levels of the best states in the nation. Our interim 3-year measures of progress are based on our strategic plan indicators, which schools are already planning for. Goals and targets for student subgroups are all set at the same high levels to be consistent with the governor's vision of closing the achievement gap by 2020. A cornerstone of ESSA Title I law is challenging college and career standards. The ESSA law continues the same requirements for student testing under No Child Left Behind. The intent is to provide every student, their families, and the community information about school progress and of student subgroups. Testing for every student is required annually in reading and math in grades 3 to 8, and once in high school. Testing in science is required annually once in each grade span. English learners' progress toward achieving English language proficiency must also be measured annually. Over the last few years, Hawaii has streamlined its statewide requirements for testing and will be requiring only the federal minimum as of next school year. The ESSA plan describes our commitment to the Kaiapuni Assessment of Educational Outcomes, or KAEO, for our students in our Hawaiian immersion programs and schools. KAEO is developed in partnership with the University of Hawaii at Manoa College of Education and considered nationally to be an innovative and groundbreaking initiative in addressing or honoring indigenous cultures and language. ESSA Title I funds to public schools provide additional funding for public schools with a significant proportion of students whose families are low income. Schools have flexibility to use Title I funds to meet students' needs, innovate, and support school priorities. Frequent uses of Title I funding are for increased learning time, family and community engagement, quality preschool, curriculum materials, teacher training, counseling, and mental health programs. The department has streamlined paperwork under ESSA for the Title I program so schools can spend more time helping students learn and less time demonstrating compliance. ESSA requires multiple measures for school accountability. These still include test scores, but now also include the extent to which English learners are making progress in achieving English language proficiency, graduation rates, student growth, and a state-selected measure of school quality, or student success. ESSA requires that this information be used to identify schools for support and improvement. Hawaii is proposing to take a new approach to school accountability. As recommended to the board, Hawaii proposes that ESSA school accountability requirements be limited in its use. ESSA-required school accountability will be used specifically to identify schools with the most struggling students for comprehensive support and improvement, and schools with the most struggling student subgroups for targeted support and improvement. Schools Strive High reports will be more comprehensive than ESSA-required school accountability. Annual Strive High reports will provide information on schools' progress on strategic plan indicators based on common statewide measures, as well as school or complex selected measures. ESSA has many requirements that address equitable access and outcomes for students of different characteristics and expands the list of student subgroups for whom data will be reported to include homeless students, students in foster care, and children with active duty military parents or guardians. We want to be sure that school accountability makes sense for our island population. Hawaii is choosing to also look at results of student subgroups for Native Hawaiians and Filipinos, which represent our two most prevalent ethnicities of our students. We also look at Pacific Islanders, a group which is the most academically struggling. Performance for student subgroups will be reported at the school, complex area, and state levels. ESSA offers resources and has requirements to promote quality teaching and school leadership. These resources promote the Goal 2 staff success objectives in the strategic plan. With support of ESSA funds, Hawaii will explore new teacher recruitment strategies, especially for some of our hard-to-staff schools that have many struggling students or are in remote locations. Nationwide, fewer people are preparing to be teachers, and we need to be innovative in providing prepared teachers for all of our students. We will also continue induction and mentoring programs for all new teachers during their first 2 years. ESSA requires that teachers for all grades and subjects be prepared to teach the classes that they are assigned. This expands expectations of No Child Left Behind's highly qualified teacher requirements. Based on much analysis and stakeholder feedback, Hawaii's plan offers teachers multiple ways to demonstrate their subject matter competence. ESSA has a number of programs and requirements to address some of our most vulnerable students, those whose parents move frequently for employment in the correctional system, learning English, do not have stable housing, or are under foster care. ESSA resources support services for our students so that they are safe, healthy, and supported, so that they can take advantage of educational opportunities. Following the Board of Education's authorization, the state's ESSA plan draft will be posted online for review and feedback. There are 3 parts: a summary of the ESSA State Consolidated Plan draft, the ESSA State Consolidated Plan draft, and feedback forms to provide comments. Concurrently, there is also an opportunity to comment on the state school accountability system, Strive High. Please provide your feedback by May 18th.